Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for today's episode of BioWiz podcast, Meet the Wizard. I am Elizabeth, and today I am with Amikam Bar-Gil, the CTO and co-founder of Yemoja. Hi, Amikam, how are you?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, thank you very much. I would like to start by asking you what I'm asking all our guests here is to tell us a little bit more about your journey and what led you to Yemoja.
Wow. Actually, it's one hell of a journey. And where to begin? I can start when I first finished my master's degree back in 2008, I think. And then I immediately joined a biotech company that was dealing with microalgae and genetically modified organisms with an aspect of microalgae. And then I worked there for 3 years, and I said to myself, well, I think this is the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. And I decided to quit my job there and go for a PhD.
Wow.
Uh, because I said to myself, well, in this line of work, in this field, you need to get a lot of experience in the lab, to get exposed to as many techniques as possible, to further expand your horizon, maybe doing science with other organisms,
Mhm.
um, and to get more skills and knowledge. So I decided to go for PhD at the University of Haifa. And during my PhD, well, I said, okay, I have some time, not a lot of time. Maybe I can go and work again in the field of microalgae.
Mhm.
So I found myself during my PhD working in a company called Univerve Biofuels. They were located in the Bet Shean Valley. Um, the idea was nice, but after a year or so, I thought that something is missing.
Mhm.
The algae world is not how it should be. But I stayed with that thought, and I moved on to another company still during my PhD. And there I was the research and development manager, the VP R&D. And there I made some adjustments to the microalgae world as I see it. But then again, because of conflicts between science and management, I said to myself,
Mhm.
okay, this is not for me. So I went home to finish my PhD. And during that time, I met my partners, Erez Ashkenazi and Moshe Avron. And together we started to think about the ideas of how to exploit microalgae for humankind, and do it better than other companies. We thought.
Yeah, so your journey is really centered around microalgae. So let's just go back a little, and can you tell us a bit more about what we are talking about here for people who have absolutely no clue about the word of microalgae?
Okay, so microalgae is a small organism, approximately between 1 micron and up to 100, 200 microns. It's a really small plant. It's a single celled. Um, it's part of the family we call phytoplankton, which is all the organisms that are drifted in our oceans. And this particular organism, there are currently about 500,000 known microalgae species known to science, and the approximation is that there is more than at least 500,000 more that are not listed. So there's a lot of species, a lot of families, and a lot of strains of microalgae, and each and every one of them, I see it as a small factory and as a small plant. Because microalgae, when they are drifting in our oceans, they have no capabilities of eating, they have no capabilities of barking
Mm-hmm.
or biting or do anything else, but they need to synthesize their own biochemicals in order to cope with each and every environmental shifts that are applied upon them. So this microplant, which is here approximately what, almost 4 billion years, which is responsible for almost 70% of the oxygen we're breathing now, came from cyanobacteria, which is a kind of bacteria with algae. Um, it's a small microplant that if you expose it to high intensities, it needs to synthesize substances that help him cope with these light intensities. If it suddenly move by the force of the waves from one location to other location, which is more temperate or hotter, it needs to synthesize biochemicals to help him cope with this heat stress or cold stress or any other stress which is bestowed upon him. He needs to cope with it and deal with it by manufacturing his own chemicals. And this is the base of almost all the microalgae world today, which started from biodiesel. This is how the microalgae world started, from biodiesel. Back in the days where oil barrel costs, I don't know, 100 or $150, people thought and said, okay, in these small microorganisms, if I cultivate them in mass production, I can harness the oils that they are synthesizing inside their cells and refine them and make biodiesel.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, after a few years, oil barrels prices dropped and everything went okay. We need to do something with this. And then, okay, we have omega-3, we have omega-6, we have astaxanthin, we have fucoxanthin, we have 15,000 novel chemicals and biochemicals that are known today to science, which are practically new chemicals that can be exploited for the benefit of humankind. And
Exactly.
you said it, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And among the ways that microalgae are used today, we know that there is a lot of way to take them in different directions. We are seeing that today it's also arrives in the world of cosmetics and novel foods. So could you tell us a bit more about those new kind of use and those new directions?
Definitely. So as you said, the first thing that started to to be used using microalgae is of course spirulina.
Mm-hmm.
Spirulina is a cyanobacteria actually, um, and we cultivate spirulina, not us specifically, but microalgae companies, they cultivate spirulina to bring people food supplemental in the form of protein substitute. It has, I think, 25 or even more percentage of protein inside it. It's vegan. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it has lots of minerals and other antioxidant materials that are really good for us. And thus it's considered a superfood. So
Mm-hmm.
spirulina is on one side, and you can use it as food supplement, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, microalgae, different strains of microalgae can produce other kinds of chemicals. For example, there is a known and one of the biggest and well-established companies in the world, which is located in the southern part of Israel, called Algae Technologies. Everyone who ever drove to Eilat saw the miles on miles of tubes, red or green tubes in the desert near Kibbutz Ktorah. They're producing a certain kind of pigment called astaxanthin. That this red pigment is a really, really strong and potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory agent. It basically, when you buy salmon, the red
Mm-hmm.
color of the salmon, it's astaxanthin.
Mm-hmm.
And this pigment can be sold either as a food additive in a small capsules in oil, or as a powder, or any kind you can think of for additives as colorant. But the benefits of it really, really, really can help you cope with other um, conditions that requires antioxidation, because this is its role in the algae. I mean, when you expose green algae to the high temperatures and the high light intensities of the desert, they need to do something in order not to die and to not get damage to their DNA and to their lipids. So they're synthesizing astaxanthin as a mechanism um, to deal with this stress. So we humans take this pigment for us. Again, we are exposed to the same stress, environmental stressors or internal stressors that these small microalgae are exposed to. And if we eat it, and then we have the same benefits as the microalgae have. So this
Yeah,
is
the same
one
kind of
product.
protection. That's amazing.
Exactly. So after a few more years, there's another microalgae called Phaeodactylum tricornutum. It's a diatom. It's a green brown microalgae that produces another pigment which called fucoxanthin. And the role of fucoxanthin, if we intake it, is against fatty liver. It can actually treat fatty liver conditions. It can help regulate situations of diabetes type 2 and thus help obesity. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, the reason companies nowadays are going as with the microalgae substances to food additives and not drug is because the regulatory and you need to enlist it as a drug. It can take years by years, and this company is not that rich like
Drug companies.
the drug companies. But again, you can see food additive that actually is doing a therapeutic properties. It's pretty amazing, and it's only two. I count only two:
Yeah.
astaxanthin and fucoxanthin, and there are 15,000 more, and there are almost a million strains of microalgae that each and every one of them can do something completely different.
And how does it come? How does it enter the game of the cosmetic world? And what is it exactly that you are doing at Yemoja with those microalgae?
Okay, it's a good question. So we talked about food supplements and eating substitute protein from spirulina, and we talked about two other examples as food additives that's doing a therapeutic properties. But now let's talk a little bit about cosmetics. Most of the damage that that people are exposed to is because the sun, pollution, anything else, age. We get older, that the skin gets wrinkles, that we lose elasticity. But the same factors that are causing us for this damage in our skin are the same stress factors that influencing microalgae. For
Okay.
instance, if we are exposed to ultraviolet radiation, we wear sunscreen or clothes, but microalgae, they cannot. They need to protect themselves chemically. So they synthesize a molecules that can protect them against ultraviolet radiation. And this is what they do. This is one example. Other example, let's say they are in risk of desiccation. What they do, they synthesize a viscose polysaccharide that envelopes the cell of the algae and protects them from desiccation. And this is one of the first substances that we in Yemoja started to produce in this last year. And in the picture behind me, you see the our nice system, which is full with red microalgae. This microalgae is called Porphyridium, and its unique characteristic is to secrete a viscose, um, highly viscose liquids into the medium called polysaccharide. It's actually chains of monosaccharides such as glucose, xylose, and galactose attached together in some kind of a form. They have some sulfate molecules attached to it. And this substance is really miraculous. It has the, the, the potential of acting as an antioxidant agent, really strong one. It has been proven to be anti-aging agent, a really, really, really strong one. When I say strong, even in dosages of 0.1%, it's highly active. So you need really a fraction of quantities inside your jar of cream in order to do these actions. It's a strong antiviral, anti-inflammatory agent, and this is all topically. But if you increase the concentration, because most therapeutic agents are dosage dependent, it can actually treat psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, and other conditions of the skin like skin asthma and eczema. It's a really, really, really strong substance.
But once again, in that configuration, we are re-entering the world of drugs and the special regulation attached to it.
Exactly, but this is as a medical device. But right now, I can tell you that one of the biggest cosmetic companies in the world, Este Lauder, is using this polysaccharide in more than 280 different formulations, meaning that there's a high possibility that if you go into the pharmacy or to the drugstore and you buy some Este Lauder lotion, cream, eye cream, or anything else, you will find this EPS, this external polysaccharide substance within the formulation, because in small quantities and in small concentrations, it's not dedicated for therapeutic, but it really, really assists with anti-aging, antioxidative, and also it can give you a boost for not a UV protection, but UV repair. I mean, if you're already exposed to UV radiation and your skin got damaged, this EPS can actually treat your skin and set the clock back. So this is one of the main substances that we are in Yemoja are producing right now in quite big quantities. We have already one client, and the second one is knocking on our door. And this
you
is
also
really miraculous.
you also expanded, because I know that you just received the grant H 2020 for more therapeutical use. So I'm guessing this joins what you just said, but if you could also tell us a little bit more about the grant and the new use that you are intending to do with it.
Yeah, this is really exciting news for us. I mean, we prepared for this Horizon 2020 for a year. It's a submission of almost 750 pages, but it's not us alone, I have to admit. It's a consortium of 20 other companies and academic institutes and research centers located all around Europe. And we are one part of this consortium, but our job in this consortium is to grow the algae. So what's the idea? The lead researcher of the consortium, Dr. Dorit Avni from Migal Institute here in the north, she is working on IBD models. IBD is inflammatory bowel disease, such as Crohn and colitis. And one day she said, okay, let's test like extraction of certain microalgae to see how it reacts with the models of colitis and Crohn. And to her surprise, it almost eliminated the situation of Crohn and colitis. I mean, it dealt with the inflammatory almost immediately, which is quite remarkable.
For sure.
And then it's a terrible disease. These conditions, they have no treatment up until now. You can only ease the people with the symptoms, and usually they require several operations during their lives.
Yeah, it's
disastrous.
a lot. There are a lot of chronic disease on the same model as Crohn, which means that all the surface of the organs are getting worse. So I'm guessing, I'm just picturing, I'm putting together every explanation you just gave, that somehow the microalgae also open its self-protections, and that helps to rebuild the stomach. Is that what's
Well,
happening here?
we're not sure how the mechanism works, but we saw that it's practically almost dealing with inflammatory situation. So
Okay.
it's immediately stopping the inflammatory situation, which is the
Okay.
cause for the disease itself. I mean, if you treat the
Okay.
inflammation, you have no disease. So Dorit, she's brilliant researcher. She immediately said, okay, well, we have Migal, which is 2 minutes walking from our facility, and we have a nice algae company. Let's do something together. So we sat and we decided to submit the grant first to one program of the Israeli Innovation Authority, which called Tevat Noach. It's a small program for 200,000 shekels. It's a nice grant to start with and to test the models and stuff like that. And they rejected us. Because they said from I don't know which reason it's not it's probably never going to work, it's not economical, blah 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 and stuff like that. And of course we were really upset. And we said, okay, if they're throwing out if they threw us out of the door, let's burst the door or go into through the window, and let's go to the highest peak we can. Let's go to horizon. So slowly we managed to form a consortium of really top tier researchers and institutes and companies from all over Europe, and we submitted and we won. Which is it's a pretty big deal because out of more than 200 companies worldwide, only 4 were selected, and this consortium is one of them. And the part of Yemoja of all of this is to cultivate all the dozens and dozens of strains of microalgae that will reach us. We're going to cultivate them, we're going to harvest them, and we're going to deliver all this biomass to all the groups that are responsible for testing the extracts, isolating molecules, applying the microalgae on different models and tests to see which strain of microalgae will do the best activity, the highest activity, plus in conjugation with how easy it is to cultivate it. I mean, even if we find an algae which has the best activity against IBD, but then it will be really difficult to cultivate and we'll gain only small quantities of biomass. It's not worth it. But we need to find the balance between high activity and the ease of cultivation. So this will be Yemoja's part. We're going to get something around 200 strains of microalgae. It's a lot of work. And we're going to have to cultivate them and test them and see which one is the most easiest and give the highest yield under which conditions. So this is one of our system's benefits, because I can control each and every parameter of the environment. I can control the light, its intensities, its spectrum. I can control temperature. I can control salinity. I can control the medium. I can control anything. The pH. Everything is computer controlled. Everything is logged. I can see everything. I can control everything, and the computer learns. I mean, even if tomorrow the computer sense, because we have lots of sensors in the system, it says, okay, tomorrow I had 200 million cells, and today I got only 250 million cells, means that I need to increase the lights. I need to increase nitrogen. And every time we have another batch and another batch, the next one will be better because we
you
knew
learned from
what
the
happened.
last one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like 4.0. It's like it's a agriculture or whatever you want to call it. It's a microalgae world 4.0. And this is the advantage we brought to this consortium. We can cultivate the algae, but then again, the other group can tell us, listen, we think that this molecule that treats IBD is attached to, let's say, to the light harvesting complex. I said, okay, then I can play with different intensities of light, different spectrums of light, and maybe gain a higher concentration of this molecule. So if, for instance, I grow my algae outside in a raceway pond or in a polyethylene bag outside in the sun, and now it's winter in Israel, I cannot do nothing because God is responsible for everything. But here inside my facility, we are
You can do
gods. I
anything.
mean,
Exactly.
exactly.
So
So by the end of the process, we'll find the best algae that can treat certain conditions of IBD, and then we will have to produce more and more, a few hundred kilograms of this algae, and it goes to a food company in England and Ireland. It's gonna produce cereal bars, yogurts, and stuff like that, and we're gonna go for clinical trials.
why does it has to go on the food company aspect? I thought you would say that you would immediately take all this research to develop drugs for the patients, but it's interesting to see that food has also a push to give in that situation.
Because we thought about it, but also doing all the registration and going on the process for drug, it's a lot of time and a lot of money, and going as a food additive that can actually do something about this disease is much more easier and quicker to give relief to those certain people who suffer from these kinds of situations. And also we thought about, there are many kids who suffers from this, and we thought, okay, how we can persuade kids to take drug. We make gummy bears with the extraction of this microalgae. So, but then again, we might never find a specific molecule. It can happen. So
that's
instead
the point
of
of the research, for sure.
It's part of the research, but we may find ourselves at the end staying with microalgae extract, which contains 10, 20, 100, I don't know, 1,000 different kinds of molecules. Maybe they depend on each other. So if you want to go all the way to drug, you need to first pinpoint the specific molecule, and then you can go to synthesis. But then again, they will not need us after that, but there's a long time for this.
Yes.
So it's easier and much quicker, and really the important thing is to treat people. If we manage within these 4 years to create a food additive that can actually ease the suffering of these individuals, that's it. I mean, we need nothing more.
So you are here in a mechanism of research that joins not only agri-tech, but also food tech, and also some artificial intelligence, from what I understood from all the computer. Definitely. So this is really connecting the dots in life sciences and all the wonder words and joining forces. This is a great project. Do you have any conclusions that you are taking for that to tell us a bit more about the future of Yemoja, even though I think this was very clear from the current project, but also from the future of microalgae, because I'm guessing this just opens a road of a lot of possibilities.
Exactly. So first thing, just the idea that the European Union and the Science Committee of the EU has granted full funding for a project that is talking solely about microalgae and its therapeutic properties, it's one remarkable milestone. It shows that the world and the science really believes that microalgae can be the future of humankind. I mean, we always heard about that if you harvest and research all the Amazon rainforest, you probably find cure for each and every disease um, on Earth. But the number of organisms that are located in the rainforest is 2 times fold smaller than the realm of microalgae. I mean, to think of it and to know that the EU has granted us this project is a really it's a diploma of trust that the microalgae world really can someday burst and gain all the fund he needs to create the next molecule and the next molecule and the next treatment, and not just for food additives and cosmetics, which is good too, because some cosmetics don't work. There's some cosmetics, sometimes it's like a voodoo, but um, natural extraction from plant and seeds and from microalgae, they do work. And I think it was the CEO of L'Oreal that said that a cosmetic company that will not go totally natural up to the year 2024 will have no right to exist, which is true. I mean, people don't want to use chemicals on themselves. And natural agents are the strongest agents you can find in nature because they deal with nature.
Yes.
And there's nothing strong than nature. And if you can cope with nature, you can cope with everything. So this is how I see the future of microalgae. I think that the next 10 years will see a rapid increase in companies, a rapid increase in research and development and new chemicals registrations and new clinical trials involved with microalgae chemicals. And as Yemoja, I hope that what we do here is just the first bird of a big pack that will come afterwards. I mean, we really want to expand our R&D section, and we want to expand our production facility, and even we want to build another production facility in different place, like in Europe somewhere. If we have a big customer who wants, okay, I want this substance for the next 5 years, there's no reason why we build another structure here and then we ship everything. We just build the next one in each and every place, because we don't care about location. It can be in the Sahara Desert, it can be in the North Pole, it doesn't matter. It's all indoors.
The technology that does the trick.
Yeah. So if you ask me about the next years in Yemoja, I think we're going to triple our production units and expand our R&D division at least 2 times more. I mean, I need it first for the horizon, because me and my lab assistant, we cannot deal with 200 strains. I need more people. I need more equipment. And first of all, we want to explore new strains of microalgae to see which other substances we can produce out of it. So yeah, this is my fantasy right now.
It sounds very realistic and also very exciting. So this is all the all the luck that we wish you. And you are more than welcome to come back at any time to tell us a bit more about how Yemoja is growing and what's new on the microalgae world. So thank you so much for your time, Amikam.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I'll be happy to come back, and when the project of the Horizon will start around May this year, I can come back each and every, let's say, 6 months or every other time we can talk of and give you an update how the research is going, and hopefully by the end of the 4 years, I can show you the cereal bar or the gummy bear that contains a treatment, or at least something.
That would be super great. That would be amazing. We will definitely do that. So thank you, Amikam, and we will see you very soon.